You've stared at your banking app before, watched the number climb on payday, then quietly bleed out over the next 4 weeks until it's back where it started. You've told yourself that's just how money works. But what if the whole system was never designed to make you rich in the first place? Around the year 2000, a Japanese-American entrepreneur published a memoir about his childhood. His name was Robert Kiyosaki. His co-author, Sharon Lecter, was a practicing accountant. The book sold more than 40 million copies and spawned an entire series, all titled Rich Dad Something. Not one of them was called Poor Dad. That wasn't an accident. From page 1, the book was already telling you whose advice was worth stealing. Kiyosaki's story starts with two fathers. His biological father was brilliant on paper, top of his class, eventually the head of education for the state of Hawaii, until a conflict with his superiors forced him into early retirement, broke. The other father belonged to his best friend, Mike. That man never finished high school. Decades later, he owned a chain of restaurants and hotels across the islands. Two fathers, two sets of advice, two completely different endings. Kiyosaki called the first one his poor dad. Not because he lacked intelligence, because he lacked money. The poor dad's advice was the advice you've heard your whole life. Study hard, get into a good school, land a stable job, and you'll be safe forever. The rich dad said the opposite. Don't chase safety, don't chase a job, chase opportunity. And here's the part that stings. The moment your thinking starts to differ from everyone around you is the exact moment you become capable of a different outcome. Kiyosaki compressed the entire philosophy into one line. The rich buy assets, the poor buy liabilities, the middle class buys liabilities and calls them assets. An asset puts money in your pocket every month. A liability takes it out. Your car is a liability, right? When it costs money to buy and money to keep, the house you live in and are still paying off is a liability too, no matter how much its market value climbs, because it pulls money out of your account every single month. That same house, rented out for more than the mortgage, becomes an asset. The difference was never about what you own, it's about which direction the money moves. There's a third category, consumption, something you buy, and it's simply gone, like a meal. It isn't an asset or a liability. In a strange way, it's safer than a liability because a liability never stops draining you, while consumption ends the moment it's spent. Look around the room you're sitting in right now. How many of the things you own are actually paying you back? Kiyosaki laid out 6 concrete moves. Increase your income, even if that means a side hustle, because buying assets requires capital first. Cut unnecessary spending, because every dollar saved is a seed you can plant. Take calculated risks, because the people who leave every dollar sitting in a savings account never end up wealthy. Escape the paycheck, because wages have a hard ceiling built into them. Minimize your taxes legally, because he considered taxation the single largest wall between the average person and real wealth. And finally, the step almost everyone skips: spend real time learning finance. 90% of people who read this book never got richer because they stopped the moment they closed the last page. Money itself splits into 3 types. Earned income is what you trade your labor for. Stop working and it stops. Capital gains come from buying and selling assets like stocks or property. Cash flow is passive: rent, dividends, interest, money that arrives whether or not you get out of bed. Most people spend their entire lives earning only the first kind, and nearly every tax system on earth treats these 3 kinds of income differently. Earned income is usually progressive. Denmark's top income tax rate runs past 60%, and Japan's tops 55%. Passive income is often taxed far more lightly. In some countries, barely at all. In 2021, an investigation built on leaked IRS data revealed that Warren Buffett and Jeff Bezos, during years when their net worth exploded, paid an effective federal income tax rate of less than 1%. Not because they broke any laws, because most of their wealth exists as unsold stock, and unsold stock isn't counted as income. Your paycheck gets taxed the moment it lands. Their fortunes can sit untouched legally for decades. Kiyosaki split everyone who earns money into 4 types. Employees trade time for a wage. The self-employed, lawyers, accountants, freelance designers, trade skill for a fee. Business owners employ other people's time to build their own wealth. Investors put their money to work instead. The first 2 types share the same ceiling: your time. There are only 24 hours in a day, and no amount of effort changes that number. The last two types have no ceiling at all, and almost every school on the planet only trains you for the first two. No school offers a class called How to Own a Business. None teach how to invest. The people who actually master this system rarely learned it in a classroom, and someone at home taught them first. That's why so many billionaires dropped out young. Dropping out didn't make them rich. The education that actually mattered had already happened at the kitchen table. The psychologist Daniel Kahneman spent decades proving that people fear losing money far more than they desire gaining it. That's precisely why most people leave their savings sitting in a bank account earning almost nothing rather than spend time learning to invest. It isn't that they don't want to be wealthy, it's that fear always arrives first. Kiyosaki used one more image to tie it together. Everyone alive is running the same race for wealth. The people ahead of you already switched to driving, you're still running, and you'll never catch a car on foot because you can't even see its taillights anymore. The only way to catch up is to learn to drive yourself. And here's the most dangerous part, like someone hands you the keys and you've never actually learned how. Floor the pedal without understanding the wheel, and you're far more likely to hit a wall than win the race, which is why the first move was never to floor it. It's to sit down first and actually learn the controls. Kiyosaki broke investors into 7 levels. At the bottom sit people who pour every dollar into liabilities and call it investing. One level up are those who borrow to gamble, which is really just gambling with extra steps. In the middle are people making small, diversified bets and genuinely listening to experts. Most millionaires never leave this tier. Above them are investors who stop diversifying entirely and put enormous sums into one field because they've become the expert in that field. Warren Buffett lives here. At the very top, Kiyosaki placed the capitalist, someone who no longer needs to invest in others because they've built a company, issued stock, and let the rest of the world invest in them instead. The highest form of investing was never putting your money into someone else. It's building something other people put their money into. You've probably been told money is the root of all evil, but if money truly served no purpose, no government on earth would still allow it to exist. What actually crushes people isn't money itself. It's the shrinking list of choices that comes from never having enough of it for years on end. The book offers one simple test for what rich actually means. If you stop working today, relying on nobody, could the assets under your name alone keep you alive a week, a year, forever? Maybe it's time to open that banking app again, and this time run the numbers differently.